point of the project really is to sort of find out not just the kind of tattoos that people get from memory, but to find out why they get them done and your opinion on them. And so, what is your opinion on commemorative tattoos?
I mean, I quite like it. I mean, there's a lot of people get tattooed just for the sake of art.
Yeah.
But when you get something that's commemorative, it's it's more it's more important, and it's a good way to kind of always remember something that's on you, forever. It can get a wee bit, as a tattooist, it can get a wee bit kind of grim sometimes when you're hearing stories. Generally, when people get memorial tattoos, it's quite negative. They're making something positive out of it, but generally it's quite a negative thing, and they then tell you, stories as to why they're getting it, which can be a bit, deflating.
I didn't think of that actually. Yeah.
No, I mean it's just something. It's something that if someone is getting a memorial tattoo, they've obviously dealt with it, but they can have really, really quite, grim stories, and if you hear that 3-4 times a day, it's like it can be pretty tough.
Would you say that that's part of the healing process then?
Yeah,
the way that,
totally. I do think that, particularly one of my clients right now actually, back from my old shop, I just found out she passed yesterday, and a couple of her family members have already been on to me because I tattooed her so regularly. They feel like, I think it's like a connection, because I tattooed her quite a lot, and I think that she got a Native American band around her arm, and I think they want to do something like that, so it feels like looking at the tattoos always going to remind them of her. So I think that's kind of why they all want it, and specifically me to do it as well, because obviously, I tattooed her, and it's that connection thing again.
Yeah, I guess that situation is quite different. If she was like a regular healer to you, then people would say, why would you do something so permanent to remember someone? Why wouldn't you do something else sort of that's not going to be permanent?
Yeah, and again, the design's something that I think, like something like a name, obviously it's a taste thing. A lot of times you do get names and you get RIP, something that's very obvious, but personally I prefer when people get images that remind them of something, like a shared joke or something. I got a guy at the moment whose brother passed, and his brother had it's like a silly Yogi Bear tattoo or something, and he never explained why he had this Yogi Bear, but his brother's going to get the Yogi Bear to remember him, as opposed to getting his name or something like that, because he's going to look at it and he's going to smile. Yeah. That's kind of what it's all about. It's a bit positive.
Do clients always tell you why they're getting the tattoos?
No. It's kind of 6 1/2 a dozen. Some people are quite private and they don't say. But generally, when you're tattooing someone, you're with them for anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours, and it's I'm quite chatty. I do get talking to them and generally find out the meanings. When it's something negative, me and Matt sometimes avoid bringing it up, because you don't know how recent it is or how they're dealing with it. So sometimes it's better not to mention it. But yeah, generally we find out kind of why they're getting it, especially if it's something ridiculous. Well, you can't help but ask.
Are they generally, the commemorative tattoos, then would you say they're generally about something negative? So it would be about something.
I would say it's always positive. It's very rarely that you get something kind of like I would feel negative. I got one I did once, and had I known what it was before, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was a portrait of a baby. The guy hadn't told me beforehand that the baby was stillborn, and this was a photo of the baby that they took as part of the grieving process for the mother. They take a photo so the mother can accept the loss a little bit better. I didn't know beforehand, but then during the tattoo he told me, and so I had to spend 2 hours looking at this image that I then knew, and it was quite obvious when I knew, when he told me, and that was tough.
That's quite a heavy thing to...
It was really heavy. He didn't tell his wife he was getting it as well. I don't know how she did.
Did he say why he was getting it done?
I presumed it was just his daughter, that, when she was a baby, but it was like a 20-year-old photo. They put makeup and stuff on the baby so it looks alive, but it was heavy. That was really heavy, and I don't think personally, taste-wise, I wouldn't have done it had I known, because to me it's not positive. Again, it's their choice, and if it works for him, fair enough. But just for me, it was horrible tattoo to do. I didn't enjoy it.
There are things that you turn down then.
Yeah. I mean, again, due to taste, I don't want to do a tattoo. I don't want to have my name on something that I don't think's a nice tattoo. Because obviously, you know, they're going to say who did that. I don't want to be known for doing anything negative or you know, offensive, that kind of thing.
Are there any? Do you see like styles or trends with males and females? What's
tattooing
general?
at the moment? It used to be a statement of individuality. It's not so much anymore. It's more a fashion trend. Generally, I mean, I'm not saying that right across the board, but there is a lot of fashionable tattoos, and everybody knows them. They see them all the time. People coming in, and it's celebrity ones. This is a big thing. It's kind of, I find it very irritating. That David Beckham angel, I feel like if I need to do it one more time, I might just punch David Beckham.
Oh wow.
It's just one of those things, it's like, why get, you know, 20 years, 30 years down the line, you're going to have something. This is what I mean about having tattoos that have meaning. 20, 30 years down the line, having to explain to someone who's David Beckham. Oh, I got that because David Beckham had it, you know. Same with the Cheryl Cole thing.
And they get it exactly the same?
Yeah, quite often they don't want you to change it.
Wow.
Exactly the same thing.
That's
which is, I find, quite odd, you know. I mean, the whole thing about it is it's art, it's about originality. You know, it's like tattooing's kind of like IKEA now. You know, everybody's kicking around the same one. But it's, like I say, it's not across the board. That sounds quite cynical, but there is a lot of it going on. A lot of fashion tattoos and a lot of celebrity ones.
Do you do cover-ups? Yeah, because we spoke to one of our funds, and they don't do cover-ups because they don't agree with it. They think that
cover-ups, again, it's, I can understand why they wouldn't agree with it. It's like you get a tattoo, you should be thinking about it, and you should be, you know, understanding like how important it is. And to do a cover up, it kind of diminishes it, and it says that everything's easy to cover up. This is the whole thing about cover ups. They're really tricky. They're not easy, and generally they're always a last resort. Once something's covered, it's very difficult to do a cover up of a cover up. But I've got no problem, kind of, as long as it's possible.
Do you think they're more associated with people wanting to sort of erase a memory from others, or
names are the most common cover up. That's why in this shop we don't tattoo names of like partners.
Oh really?
We'll do kids, but we won't do partners because you just can't guarantee it. And in my career I've done, like I say, I would say easily 90% of cover ups I've done have been of names or something relating to a partner. Nothing's permanent, and that proves it. So why get it tattooed? You know, in my opinion, it's a kiss of death on a relationship to get the name tattooed. You know,
it's a strange thing, because we were talking about this, is that people change anyway, and your memory changes, and something that means a lot to you at one point in life is going to face it. Any kind of commemorative tattoo could sort of fade out with the meaning to you.
I mean, the way that I kind of look at it is I've got tattoos, my first few up the top, they're not tattoos particularly that I like anymore. Style wise, again, I was kind of hooked into the fashion thing, and I went for the tribals and all that kind of stuff. I don't like them anymore, but I would never cover them. They're part of, like when you're as heavily covered as me, it's like a storybook, you know, and I always remember, you know, what I was thinking at that point in my life and where I was at that point in my life, and I love it, you know. I love that people would ask me, what was your first tattoo, and I could show them, and I could say it's horrible, but there you go, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. It's part of not just having them done for memory, but it just creating memory. It's part of what happened to you that time.
I always say that to people, like, you always remember a day you were tattooed. You remember exactly where you were living, you know, who you were friends with, everything. You remember on a day you were tattooed.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks.